In this video we're taking an extended look at Crassula. It's a diverse genus, from the stacked Crassulas that are widely grown to some of the more interesting species and of course the many hybrids. James Lucas is taking us on a tour of the nursery and he's going to tell us a little bit about some of the Crassula that he has in his collection.
Today I thought I'd show you some of the Crassulas we grow here. This is like a mixed bowl showing you that they're upright and also prostrate or hanging basket type style. This one down here goes beautiful red in summer. Like right now it's growing, it's nearly winter, and that's pachystemon David. That's a beautiful one. The one in flower above it is Crassula Tom Thumb. This is one of the hybrids. There aren't a lot of hybrids. There's about 200 species in all, but that is sort of semi-miniature and nice little white flowers. And that's a very typical Crassula flower. This one here, perforata, variegata. You can see it's got the yellow on it, and it's sort of not growing a lot yet, but it's getting that summer colour still in it because it's not growing wildly. Whereas this is more the winter colour, where it's coming through and starting to grow. Over here we call this Isabella, pellucida Isabella. And this is a really great hanging basket plant. It goes really dark red, but then bright green, white, yellow, white new tips on it. Another stack type or perforata type hybrid called Jade Necklace, and again in flower. This specimen's probably about 4 years old, and I like it. It grows in a high light area, and you can sort of see it gets a really red new tips on it, tinge of pink in the flowers, and they also look really great. And they're in a really nice pot. And they're done up in a really nice pot. This is the smallest of the stack plants. This is a really beautiful little one called marnieriana. Again, another hybrid. This here is Crassula tecta, taller flower stem, but typical of the Crassulas, that little rosette of tight compact flowers. But what I want to show you here, these leaves, they're actually hairy. It's all dotted with very, very fine white hair. And in winter, they really need to be in an open, airy position, or otherwise they can have a tendency to get rust in high humid conditions, which is a browny fungus which you'll get on the leaves and can start to rot them. So it's really important to probably, at this point, I probably should show you, but you can bottom water these pots by going underneath. You've got a big hole in the bottom. You can actually water from the bottom and don't get the top foliage wet. So particularly hairy Crassulas, you don't water a lot in winter. You have to water them in winter, but you don't let them stay wet. Open airy position so the leaves dry out. Next we'll look at this. This is Celia. It's a hybrid, really miniaturized. This has probably been in this pot now for 3 or 4 years, and you see it just starting to flower, but incredibly compact. Really beautiful little plant. Mostly grown by division, but again, if you keep these plants in a really small, neat pot, they really do stay small, tight and compact. And this is where, close to what they'd be like growing in nature. Probably better than conditions in nature. And also off the ground with their feet, so that they get good airflow underneath. And another one, orbicularis. Now orbicularis, if you grow it well in another pot, this is already finished flowering, they get much bigger flower heads or plant heads on them. But this is highly miniaturized, but also very happy in this tiny little pot. This is Crassula schmidtii. This is a beautiful little plant, great rockery plant, really good colour, bright red leaves, when it's stressed. And you see here right next to it is the young vigorous one here. It looks a little bit different, but this one's older, more mature, more compacted, grown in hungrier conditions, and it actually looks really, really great. This is one of my favourites actually. Exilis, Crassula exilis, subspecies cooperi. This gets beautiful speckled leaves on it, but this has been grown lean and mean, and it's gone really miniaturized. And also pot that matches the colours. This is Crassula muscosa, a natural species. You can see it's like a little shrub. There's compact versions of this, there's crested versions of it. Muscosa is a well-known one, but as you can see, it's quite a big growing plant. This is a really famous hybrid. This is Buddha's temple. It's made by, originally, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago by an American grower. And what this does, it's inclined to grow up in a columnar form, but it does get lots of babies around it, and that forms quite a clump. But the perfect, beautiful, turned up leaves, really, really nice. John, this is exilis I showed you up there before, unbelievably compact, but look at it here, much more vigorous, the leaves bigger, but check out the spotting on the leaves, really lovely. It's another stacked plant. We got a group of hybrids made in Japan, and see the beautiful hot orange here. Later on they almost go black red in summer when you got the sun on them. Superb colours. This was found by Kim Hamilton in Sydney. There's a little variegated rogersii. Again, another Australian variation. It's a sport and slightly monstrous form of a stack type Crassula. Most of these are species over here. There's Emerald. There's not been as much hybridising done with Crassulas as a lot of other plants. So a lot of them are selected forms or botanical variations, but not necessarily hybrids. Oh, this is lovely. See the Celia growing a bit more vigorously than what it was before. You know, this is Ivory Pagoda. This is a classic. This is absolutely beautiful. Moonglow, quite special, quite hard to get. Here's more stacked plants. Perforata types. There's a lovely one. Look at the red on the back of that. Purple dragon. This is a slightly large growing plant. You can tell, look at the internodal spacing. You can tell straight away it's not super compact. Beautiful spotting on the leaves. Makes a great bit larger pot plant, this one. And here's the muscosa. Here's a selected form of it. A bit thicker in the stem, more dark green. And this is the variegated version of it. You can see it's grey, a bit finer growing. Oh yeah. This is volkensii. This is the variegated form of that. This makes actually a really lovely little shrub and or a hanging basket. And I'll show you one right up here. This is the natural form of volkensii. You can see very foliferous. But look, when you lift it up and you stand it up in a slightly high pot, it really is like a miniature bonsai. Quite artistic. And you can often use a taller, slender pot to display these sort of plants really well. Yeah, like this one here. This is a weeping form and pot to match. Beautifully in flower at the moment. This is the weeping one. Warmsley blue. We believe this might be an Australian find or a hybrid. And this is Aiboshi. This is again another one of the Japanese ones. Get beautiful hot coloured ends on it. Not so much in winter, but summer more so. Talisman, another hybrid. You can sort of see it's got a slightly sunburnt look to it because this is a very bright house we're in now. This one is Crassula Surprise Party, a more modern hybrid. Beautiful red flowers. And also noteworthy is its hairy leaves. Again, you can really feel the furriness of them. So the thing is again, these things, keep them open, airy position in winter. Don't allow them to sit in the rain or too much. But also, it looks really great. Matching pot, off the ground, plenty of airflow, and just a really lovely plant. Pink flower, another stacked plant. Pagoda, that one's called. And here's Tom Thumb, last one. Really compact, tight, but look at the amount of flowers.
We hope you enjoyed a look at Crassula, and we'll be back with more videos on all sorts of succulents, a whole range of garden plants, and as always, good luck with your gardening.